technology takes time. There we go. Good morning, welcome to a morning outlook. This is Kim speaking on Monday the 13th of March. So Monday the 13th, what's that got in store for us? Firstly, looking at the news, there's no impact news out there at all that's due. There are speakers going on at the moment, but nothing at all today in terms of expected economic news, at least. Okay, aside of that, then we've got tomorrow. Then just quick look through the week, because it will have a bearing on today. Quiet day like today could end up very quiet, because we've got, well, tomorrow I don't think it's going to be, might be a big mover tomorrow morning for the pound, but there you go, there's the pound potential, average earnings, etc. Now actually, if this average earnings comes down again, it would suggest that inflation may be being a bit squeezed a little bit more, but I wouldn't hold my breath on that one. Anyway, we should never really get a second guess things. In the afternoon, you've got US inflation data coming out. That could be a biggie, bearing in mind as we move into the next couple of weeks. Wednesday, we've got the UK annual budget release. I think that, as ever, they'll have most of the contents of that leaked out beforehand or discussed beforehand, so the surprise effect is probably less. US core retail sales, another key one really, and US PPI. So there's some inflationary data there on Wednesday. Then Thursday, the most important thing there is the ECB meeting. So we've got the ECB meeting for the Aussie dollar. We've got employment data, which is pretty key, and that's it. So Friday, consumer sentiment in the US. So we have I'm just watching those times, actually looking at the times. Remember that the US have already tickled an hour forward, so they're only 4 hours different to us, just so it's 12:30, not 1:30 on the data. Right, we've got another week to go yet. Let's look at these markets then. We'll start off looking at the euro dollar. I always talk about structure these days in detail, and well, it's got messy here, because we were sitting there effectively in lower highs. It's done a reversal of the highs, but well, it's still a bit of a mess. It's come back and closed gaps, etc. Nearly, so there was a bit of a gap underneath there that's not been completed, and an untouched daily pivot down there, but at the moment we've already gone through the R1, popped up again here. This really looks like it could continue through this morning, but the R2 is not far away. Resistance there, quiet day, could get a bit stuck. We'll see. It's difficult to judge on days like this when you've got no real news coming through. Pound, similar case. It was much simpler, lower highs, lower lows running through there. We'd broken that prior low over there, so structurally we're in we've done 1, 2, 3 waves effectively. It's trying its best again, hasn't actually closed above, and we'll wait for the euro as well to close above their monthly pivots, but certainly looking stronger than it has been. But it's again, I was going through a couple of different currency pairs at the weekend on a webinar, and I sit there and I sort of scratch my head thinking, well, where's this going to go? And as soon as you're like that, you should probably be leaving it. You shouldn't just be looking to see where it would go because you like to trade it, but we get into that habit. But there'll be more on that later in the week. Anyway, US dollar yen, now this looks cleaner, possibly. Nice retrace back to its monthly pivot. It's really a question now, maybe leaving it today, but seeing whether we get much more of a move off there. We may get something off the shorter time frames, but we'll see what happens off this. But it can't be, I won't be buying it where it's sitting at the moment, because it could all be changed. It's a single bar into the monthly pivot there. We'll see what happens. If by tomorrow it's given us an opportunity set up, I'll look at that, but certainly a cleaner chart relative to the others. Aussie US dollar. Okay, so that's such an exit we made on that. Retrospectively, you can go back and say that now, but well, we're getting a bounce here as well for now. How well this will last is another matter. multiple bottom there, so it's sort of ground the bottom out there. It's still in trend though at the moment. It looks like it anyway. It's roundabouts. Let me just pop the trend line roughly on there. If I can get it on top of the lines over here, that was what I was looking to do. There we go, straight bang into the trend line 50 MA. So it's showing all the signs of turning, or some of the signs of turning, not all the signs at all. It hasn't broke the trend line. It has given me a little higher low here, so it's got some of the signs. I've got to be a bit careful it doesn't just run into these prior lows there and roll back again, but got some potential if we were to see the US dollar sell off a bit more and start softening. US dollar CAD coming back towards its prior highs here is the obvious thing here. Now this has had some sort of nice, well, I say nice structure, I'll rephrase that. It had some structure, had some higher lows in their consolidation around here, whether this is just the finishing aspect or part of the wave. Bit of divergence over the highs there on the last week, and selling off at the moment underside of the weekly pivot. Potential for the S1 to be hit as it sits at the moment. It has got sort of some relatively clear lower highs coming through here, but for today it's already down. It's already hit down to its S2. There is of course possibility if it goes further, but when you start on a quietish day which has got a reasonable broad range of pivots in there, the probability of the S3 being hit is around about 7 to 10%. So you're at very low levels there. So wanting to trade it, it's a low probability trade. US dollar, New Zealand, don't know why really I'm looking at this, is similarish to the Aussie higher lows coming through there. In fact, it's probably broken its trend in terms of the bigger time frames. Not really. No, it hasn't broken through that trend yet either. But again, it's putting some signs in there. So we'll see what happens with the US dollar here. Okay, gonna flick through a couple of pairs here just on the hourly basis to see what's happening. Euro yen is a bit of a mess now. It's finished off. This is a 4 hourly basis. Lower high came through there, but is all I can say there. And it's a sort of I'm trying to look at some of the other pairs that are quite common. The pound yen, common pair, but not the easiest to trade. And this is a mess. So it's a mess. It's on a 4 hourly, it's a mess, and it's a mess there as well. If it's not clear, leave it alone, is my book. Anyway, I looked at the euro yen. EURCAD is another one of my often favourite sort of pairs because it does run into some nice trends. You can get caught up in a bit of consolidation for a while, but it's trying at the moment. There'll be some divergence over the highs here, which I'm sure there'll be traders selling into it. It might just actually pip the low between the two of them, which is a bit more of a bearish signal. We'll see how this runs through today. But really, is it broken the trend or anything? Not really. Structurally, it's still in an upward trend and all across all the time frames. And for now, it should be traded in that direction for me. Right, on that happy note, let's move on. Quick look at the gold and oil. We'll have a quick look at everything this morning, very briefly. So gold, higher low in there. It did a gap. A lot of the markets did this gap this morning. This has looked like it's come pretty much almost there to close it. Not far off of it, but certainly more positive. This just reflects the weaker dollar. Higher lows. Might get another breakthrough of the R1 into the R2 at some point, possible. It hasn't caught the daily pivot. The probability for that is better. So if it does it, crude, again, weaker dollar has its effect on crude oil. Let's just look at it from a daily perspective. But look at the mess it's in. It's a tightening wedge effectively. So we sort of fractionally getting higher lows. That wasn't a lower high, was it? But it's a tight old wedge that's sitting in there at the moment, and a risky trade. Looking very briefly through the equity Equity markets here, bit of a reversal then on the CSI 300, but still in a bearish state. Nikkei, again, gaps, island reversal here still. I talked about this on Friday there, about this island reversal pattern. It's very weak pattern. Generally, you see it in stocks a lot more. It's trying to get a bit of a grip there, but we'll try to. We'll see how well this 34 holds up for it. Nifty 50, that's still looks bearish, and there's confirming that move today. For me, but it's very simple. See the lower highs, lower lows all the way through here. And again, if you're trading this, it's probably safer at the moment to be on the downside. Okay. S&Ps caught a bounce this morning, but they've certainly got this sort of wave formation to the downside. Weaker US dollar normally helps the S&Ps. We'll see how it develops today. Has hit its S1, daily pivot S1, sorry, daily monthly pivot and monthly S1. Might get a bit more of a bounce off where it is, but it's still, with the structure and everything there, it's more on the bearish side than the bullish side. Of course, as I said, with the weaker US dollar, we could see these markets making a bit more of a recovery, but for now they're very much structured on the short side right the way through here. Moving to DAX, well, it's finding a little bit bouncy sort of this morning. It's still in this horrible pattern. I think there's probably more traders losing money on this than you can shake a stick at the moment, the way it's been going over the last month and a half. It's very difficult. It's very quick to lose some money as well, so I should tread carefully. The FTSE has structurally changed here at the moment. It's put the lower highs in. Yes, it's pushing up. This may just be a corrective move, but I wouldn't want to be back in the long side of it for a little while at least. Now, of course, sometimes when you say that, you'll see it absolutely fly. Well, it's called Sod's Law, but structurally, as I say, for now, it's looking like it's tried turning the corner. It's got lower high and it's broken its trend line. It probably had a bit of divergence around the highs there. It's actually triggered the bottom of that divergence level. So there's a whole bundle of stuff that would suggest it's weak there. Right. Finally, I will just look at a bit of Bitcoin for you and just get told off for not looking on a Monday. So Bitcoin had a good weekend. Again, weaker dollar. We've just seen the reaction to that across this market. So weaker dollar, looking like it's pushing up a little bit here. Ethereum's actually just gone that bit further. I was looking at the Bitcoin and it's 50 and 34. It's below it at the moment. Yeah, as long as the dollar can stay weak, these cryptos have got a bit of a chance here. Chainlink was very popular, become very popular. Traders looking still, to me, lower highs, lower lows here. It hasn't really changed the structure on this bigger time frame and looks soft. So there you go. I wish you a great day's trading. I'll trade safely and sit on your hands if you have to. Don't be pressing those buttons too quickly if there's nothing clean set up. And I'm sorry to the guys Miko, Ian, Michael, morning all. Just say I don't mean to, and Flo, Cam, don't mean to be rude. There we go. Have a great day. Bye for now.